Welcome to episode number 7 of Yucaipa 360. Today we will be talking about economic development in the city of Yucaipa and what that means for businesses, residents, and the future of our community. I hope everyone had a very happy Thanksgiving. As the holiday shopping season is now in full swing, we thought this would be a great time to highlight recent commercial growth in Yucaipa, to talk about what new businesses are coming soon to our community, and to encourage everyone to support our local businesses by doing some of that holiday shopping right here in town. Economic development plays a critical role in creating jobs, housing, places to eat and shop, and in building a strong sense of community. And today we have with us here, Yucaipa 360, our city's housing and economic development analyst, Ryan Miller. Ryan, welcome.
Thanks for having me, sir. I am excited to do this and excited to make it happen. This is a wonderful platform.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we've got a lot to go over today. I want to dive right in.
Let's do it.
There's a lot going on in town.
There
People
is.
are seeing activity. We're getting lots of questions. There's some excitement. There's some concern, as there always is when there's any kind of change. And I'd like to address those kind of comments and concerns and questions we've been hearing in the community. Let's start with probably the biggest thing going on right now, which is Yucaipa Point.
Yes.
Yucaipa Point is on Yucaipa Boulevard, down by the freeway. Everyone knows, Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out and Five Guys and Panera Bread, that development there.
Yep.
People may have noticed dirt is moving again at
It
Yucaipa
is.
Point. Let's talk about that project and what has happened there and what's happening now and what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yucaipa Point is very quickly going to become our most sales tax, quickest, most producing property that we have in town. And currently that reigning champion, which has been traditionally, is the Chapman Heights Shopping Center. So the new development that you're seeing is a commitment that the developer of Vantage One, they did a nice thing for the city, and I'll try to keep it a little bit short if possible, but when they originally started building Yucaipa Point, they wanted to bring specific uses to town that the city hadn't have. They don't want to just build something where they put in a certain, mattress stores or furniture or things that they can just get to fill it with rent. So they've always stayed committed to trying to bring, different uses to town. And coronavirus hits and weird things happen. How loans were structured, how, development runs, how, even the construction cost of things were absolutely going through the roof, and it was making it hard to adjust pro formas for developers to make these projects and commitments come to life. Tom, the owner of Vantage One, is on the contrary of doing it the wrong way. He does it the right way. So what you had seen that a lot of people were concerned about were those white trucks. And they were such a big topic of conversation online. We'd get a few phone calls here and there, but there's always a reason for things. So Vantage One and Tom, he had an opportunity. When people have certain types of developments, they go to the bank, they get certain loans. Those loans have certain parameters on them and timelines. And if you don't reach those timelines, well, here comes the payments, here comes the interest and all the great things.
Right.
Good developers have great relationships with banks because it's about assets, and they want you to grow more if they can give you that opportunity, and they have a potential to grow your portfolio too. So Tom went to them with coronavirus and said, hey, I am building Yucaipa Point out. It is an absolute beautiful development. I have these special uses that I'm working on. I want to continue that commitment. What is a way that we can continue our project and while we work through what the whole country was really going through? And they came up with, well, if you could generate some income on that property, we can adhere to what you've committed to with the city. So that's great. So that's where the white trucks had come from. So it was literally just a way that they can make income on the property to satisfy their commitments to the lenders, so that they could build out. Now, fast forward to what you see today is dirt's been moving the last few weeks. That was right before the holiday that it actually happened. And it's very exciting. It's not a use that we can necessarily talk about the logos of, but I know that it will be consisting of 3 buildings you're going to see. The first building is awesome, and it's coming down the pipeline where eventually the community will know about that. It's something that will definitely benefit Yucaipa. I think everybody's excited for it that is privy to that information through non-disclosure stuff. So it'll be a great day when we actually get to talk about that. Now, you have 2 other buildings that are being built there that will also have specific uses that will impact our community in a positive way. As you look at the Vantage One development and how that came to fruition, they originally had what is now known as the Kaiser property. So where the Kaiser Permanente had submitted to our planning commission a certain design that they were considering into our city, and That was, I don't know, a little less than 10 years ago or so that that buzz started getting out there. Now, what was interesting about that, or I should say about 6 years ago now. So interesting about that property is originally when Vantage One had bought that entire property from Stater Brothers, who owned all of it, it was under a couple of different conditions. Originally, there was a movie theater that was going to be there. Now, this all is before my time, so I'm doing my best to remember it as what I've read and know about from talking to people in the community. But it would have been a movie theater. Coronavirus hits, movie theaters were going under.
Yeah.
And it was obvious, so that agreement deal fell apart, if you will. So now what are you going to bring there? There's nothing in opportunity, a vacant land in a beautiful city in a very, what would be one of our most expensive commercial properties because of the access to the 10 freeway. And of course, everything else is there. And Tom sold the property to Kaiser. Kaiser owns that property now. A lot of people think, where's the Kaiser? When's it coming? What does the city have to do to bring him here? That's where my job comes in, of being my annoying self and bugging people and trying to find out what we can do to get correct information from these developments that potentially could come. And then how can we help assist them coming to town? There's so many things that are always happening that we can update them on that will benefit them coming to Yucaipa. So we've stayed on it, but ultimately they own the property. So when they want to develop is up to them. If they want to not develop and hold on to it, that's up to them. You know, when it comes to real estate, the more development that happens adjacent to them that you're actually seeing as Yucaipa Point is being built out, well, their property becomes worth more money. So they'll eventually get to a point where we're either going to build the Kaiser or we got to figure something else out. I look forward to continuing those communications with them. Kaiser's always been wonderful on the development side of things and their teams that they use for that. So I've always been appreciative, but the city would, I would assume, continue to try to work that relationship out so that we can eventually bring that use here.
Yeah.
So
I know there's been some frustration in the community. People were expecting a movie theater there and that didn't happen and people were disappointed. And now this Kaiser has been talked about and people see that nothing seems to be happening there. And so there are a lot of rumors. Every once in a while I see on social media, the rumors fly around again. Well, you know, I was told that project was canceled and, you know, that's not true. You know, Kaiser still owns that property and they have a whole list of projects that they're working on. And when they get to, you know, wherever that, you know, project is on their priority list, when they get to that, then they'll start working on that. You know, actually, while it's disappointing to many that the movie theater didn't happen, in another way, we got fortunate here in Yucaipa because quite a few movie theater projects were being built and then stalled when COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
You know, the city of Menifee is a great example. I was in the city of Canyon Lake at the time. Menifee next door had a Krikorian being built, and you know the walls were up. It was under construction. COVID hit, everything screeched to a halt, and that thing sat there for years. It became an eyesore and blight, and you know it became a place where homeless hung out and you know, tagging and you know it was just an awful eyesore in the community for many years, and there was nothing the city could do because they were tied up in litigation with Krikorian. You know, the city didn't have a right to just come in and bulldoze it, right? And they couldn't force Krikorian to build the theater. So it was a terrible situation. So I'm grateful at least that Yucaipa didn't end up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And as much as we would like to see these projects move more quickly, you know, development takes a long time. These are big dollar projects. And you mentioned Tom Robinson doing things the right way.
Correct.
And I do believe that's true. I think, you know, a lot of times people make assumptions about developers and they're all evil and greedy. And, you know, it's just about making the quickest buck no matter what's right or wrong for the community. And, you know, for some developers, I'm sure that's true. You know, like with anything, there are good actors and bad actors, right? And
good
so
business and bad business.
That's right. But one of the things that I've been impressed with Tom, as we've seen how he's approached that Yucaipa Point project, is that he has been willing to hold out for the uses that make sense for us here in Yucaipa, whereas so many developers take the first tenant that comes along because that's the quickest money. They're going to start getting, you know, revenue and profit on that on that project. And I know that Tom has had many offers of businesses that he has turned down. Some of them he came to us and said, you know, guys, what do you? I'm not sure about this one. What do you think? And we've said, oof, yeah, no, that's not what we're looking for here in Yucaipa. And he's honored that, and he hasn't had to. You know, a lot of people don't realize the city does not have the ability to say, we want this specific use, right? We can say, this type of store, like, okay, this area is zoned for commercial, for retail, for restaurant, but we can't say we want this specific restaurant. You have to provide that restaurant. We don't have the legal right to do that. We don't own the property. We're not developing the property, right? So a lot of times people say, well, why is the city building, or why are they building this? Well, who is they?
That's right.
Something in this country called private property rights.
That's right.
Unless the city owns the property, we cannot control what specific businesses are brought in to a project. And so I appreciate that Tom has been willing to work with the city and say, okay, is this the right use for this location? And it means that it's taken him longer to get that project done.
Extremely.
But it also means that that's going to be the right project. And I cannot wait until we are legally free to announce some of the things that are coming at that center. This community is going to be thrilled at some of the things that Tom has been able to line up, working with you and the planning department to make sure that all the hurdles can be jumped over, right? That all the red tape is cut, and that we're working in a way that allows these projects to get done. And it's going to be very exciting. It's you mentioned the white trucks.
Yep.
Contrary to rumor, those trucks were never FEMA or the United Nations.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
But it's another example of how, when done the right way, you can find creative solutions. So Tom needed to buy time, and he found a company that was a fleet company. They needed a place to store vehicles, and they were willing to pay for that. And so signing that deal bought time to wait for the right projects to come along. I know that for a lot of people, it was an eyesore. They didn't like seeing all those trucks out there. They don't understand why the trucks are there. It was frustrating for them. We got a lot of those comments here at City Hall. But at the end of the day, long term, the result is going to be a shopping center that has amenities that our residents want, provides revenue for the city so we can continue providing services. It's going to be a better outcome for the city.
Yeah, no, I think it's a beautiful way to say it. It's exactly that. And, I do appreciate Tom as well. And Yucaipa Point is special. Those tenants that he's leasing with, those aren't necessarily, they're automatically the highest and best use coming in. It's not only something the community desires, but it's the region desires. And that's a huge benefit and testament to Tom. One thing I will say is, you give me some praises for helping with it, but I'm a very, very small part of what is a great development team. The people that surround me, from planning, engineering, anybody in community development, it's amazing what we can all do to help each other. The communication, finding ways to work through things, delays are not easy on cities. And just as easy as, it was for Tom to commit to what he was doing, well, we as a city also made a decision with him to trust him and follow through with his commitments because of the kind of character he has. Had we not, as a team collectively, done that, there could just be certain uses down there that are similar to either what we have or not helpful to.
No, you're right. It's a team sport, and we're fortunate to have a great team here. And a good example is a use that's coming that we are not allowed to announce yet, but in the next couple of weeks we will be able to announce. Residents are going to be so excited when they hear about this. It's one of those things where we commonly hear, why don't they bring this, right? Well,
can I give you a hint?
This is coming, right?
Can I give you a hint?
Please.
Nobody's listening.
Okay.
It's a really big concrete pad. We're bringing the trucks back.
Oh, are they going to be black this time?
Yeah, actually, because of the concrete, we can put UN on the sign down.
Oh, very good.
So,
very good. Ryan, this is how nasty rumors get started.
Somebody's going to clip that, huh?
Yeah, no, but
cut it in post.
No, but look, exciting things going on there. Let's take a look. We have some video, some drone footage.
Oh, great. Awesome. So what we're looking at here, sir, is Yucaipa Point, exactly what we were talking about. Something that points out to me when I look at this picture quite profoundly is that gas station that seems like it's in the middle of Yucaipa Boulevard and Avenue E there.
Right at the tip of the triangle there.
Yeah, so we're in the process of completing the, speaking for engineering here, completing the 3-lane project that would be Yucaipa Boulevard and Avenue E, which goes on to that 2-way right turn onto the highway that everybody's waiting for.
Yeah, no, that's a big point, because as you go down Yucaipa Boulevard towards the freeway, you get to the freeway, people have been really asking for a
Mhm.
second right-hand turn onto the freeway on-ramp.
Yep.
And that is in the works as part of this project.
Yep.
People don't understand why it's not as simple as just going out and
Yeah,
painting the
doing
stripes
it.
on the
Yeah.
road. It is much more complicated than that, but that is in the works.
Yeah, that's a great way to say that. So what you'll see here is that gas station is basically what would be the north of this picture, or one pad over, is where potentially that gas station can move. And once that gas station moves, that's basically the pinch pin, if you will, where you'll start seeing where we can move forward with that project you're talking about for the widening of Yucaipa Boulevard, finishing Avenue E, and then a turn on to the freeway as well. So that's very exciting. What also comes with that too, in that project, there's a nice big marquee of a welcome to the city. So I think that council and staff, you guys are going to have a great time designing something super special coming into town. Maybe I'm asking for that as a citizen here too, because I think it would be great when you come off that 10 freeway. And when I'm looking at Yucaipa Point, a couple things come to mind. When I first moved to town in 2021, and when you go anywhere you haven't been before, you can notice what is newer, what's more complementive to people that are coming from out of town, and then versus, living in that place and having an impact. If this is going to be our quickest and most profitable sales tax related properties here, which is Yucaipa Point, then having it welcoming to the communities that are surrounding and people stopping off the 10 freeway, that's beautiful development. I mean, that's well done landscaping, and it's going to complement the whole thing through. So it's a great welcome to our city that way. I look forward to that monument that will be in the front as well too. And then you have another building that will be basically running parallel. What you're seeing move now, the dirt out in Yucaipa Point, there's 3 buildings that are being built. One is basically parallel and alongside Avenue E. One is directly behind that Starbucks that was just built. And then the other is kind of to the northern part of that property where it butts up to the Kaiser property, which is where the weeds are still exposed over there, kind of the last part of that dirt strip. So that was the last phasing of the development, would be that gas station and then what you're seeing now. And that would be the completion of Yucaipa Point up to the point where Kaiser gets its opportunity.
Okay, let's roll the footage here.
Beautiful.
Okay, so now we're inside the project. We're looking at Ono Hawaiian, Yucaipa Dental. We're coming up on Panera Bread, and we're heading towards.
Beautiful.
We're seeing the dirt being moved here. Was just started. These are these 3 buildings that we're going to be able to announce very soon that people are going to be excited about. And then we move towards the Kaiser property, and we've talked about that. Hopefully that'll be beginning here before too long in the next couple of years.
If I could add something to that, Chris, about the Kaiser, it is unfortunate that things take a long time, but also sometimes there are opportunities that will come to fruition. For instance, there is enough development that we have currently under construction, and some of it going through the processes of potentially being entitled for it, where it's going to have the use of a ladder truck. Well, ladder trucks are extremely important to communities because it's not just how high buildings are, how wide they are for the safety, but also too, that allows economic opportunities for us. Maybe Kaiser can put an emergency center with it now because they can go higher.
Right.
Or maybe our hotels can add a floor or put a restaurant up top or something or whatnot, because you have that flexibility now. Now they have to pay to play. It's not a thing the city pays for, obviously. But
well, it could be, and a lot of cities do. But that's a great point, because we are in a position now where we are looking at projects that might require the service of a ladder truck should those projects be built. And it depends on the height of a building or how wide a building is, right? And so if you're a certain width or a certain height, then you trigger the need for ladder truck service to service that building. And so we have an opportunity to put together what's called a fair share agreement, where it will be those projects that will cumulatively pay for the price of that ladder truck, not just the piece of equipment itself, but
right.
the maintenance, the ultimate replacement, and the staffing of that ladder truck.
Right.
But I want the community to know that we are being cost conscious here. We're being protective of taxpayer dollars. And if those businesses are going to come in that require the use of that truck, it shouldn't be the taxpayers of Yucaipa that cover that cost. It should be those projects that trigger that requirement of that piece of equipment. So a fair share agreement is a mechanism by which those projects can share the cost. And we're putting that into place here.
Beautiful. With
Yeah.
economic development, it pigeonholes right in. The more opportunities that we have to present ourselves a certain way as a city, the more amenities we have, the more options we give them for development, better quality, quicker projects we'll get.
Right.
Pretty simple.
Right. All right. So Yucaipa Point is an exciting project for Yucaipa. It's a big one. As you mentioned, probably our largest opportunity for a shopping center to generate sales tax for the city, which is important because sales tax for most cities is the primary source of revenue that cities rely on to provide services, right? In Yucaipa, our sales tax is very low per capita. We're one of the lowest in the region. We have a consultant, HDL, that gives us quarterly reports on sales tax generation in the city. One of the charts they show us every quarter is per capita sales tax revenue. It compares Yucaipa with our neighboring cities. We are always right near the bottom. We're second to last always. The only city in the region lower sales tax per capita than us is the city of Highland, and that's about to change because they've got a Costco
tremendously
coming, right? The city of Calamasa per capita has higher sales tax than we do. The city of Beaumont is hugely higher than even the city of Banning. All of our surrounding cities, with the exception of Highland, have higher sales tax per capita. We only bring in about $5.5 million of sales tax currently. Now that's going to change because the voters passed Measure S on the November ballot.
That's right.
So that's a 1% sales tax that will apply to sales within the city of Yucaipa, but also online sales. So we estimate, the HDL's estimate is approximately $6 million in additional revenue to the city. I think that might be conservative. It might end up being higher than that. We'll see.
Yeah.
So that will help.
Do you mind if I elaborate on that a little bit?
Please.
Not that I have the exact numbers, that we have 1,291 sales tax producing businesses, and you are right with our GDP. We're right between that 2,000 and 2,500. Those other cities that you mentioned are anywhere from 10 to 15,000. When you take the population of the city, the money that's being spent, and what you're actually making, that's where you're getting that equation from. And as you mentioned, it's a testament to planned development, and that's what. When you look at those charts and you think about things, you can wait for the market to be the market. You can let it naturally go how it goes. And to a certain respect, we are very free market, Yucaipa, and we have a very welcoming development, kindly people that work here, our code. I mean, absolutely everything. People love to develop in Yucaipa. That's part of why we get so many people looking at us, is because we're what you call development friendly. Our processes, the laws that we have, entice development, and there's not many places that actually have space out there. A lot of cities are built out. So that's where you'll see the moratoriums, and they only want certain uses, and kind of making it a little harder for development to happen. But which is a good thing too. But, with the 1,291 businesses that we have and the 2,000 to 2,500 GDP level we're at, you look at a city of Banning, and they had some planned developments booked before coronavirus, and there were some specific plans. There were some industrial and such, and by the time that onboarded, it was right as coronavirus was happening. So it takes a while when you recuperate sales tax. It's not like, oh, they spent it today, the city gets it tomorrow. Even the reporting takes a quarter. Everything's a quarter behind. But when you see the difference between a city that did planned development and had a plan and worked it through and found solutions, when those on board and you have occupancy, that first 18 months, you feel the rumble, but when the reporting actually comes and you see the spike on the charts and you see your GDP raise, above 5 figures, like that's all quality of life. That's how many jobs. It has to do with everything. I know it's hard to economically, there's so many analyses you can run and different assumptions and, economic values, and you plug in to try to have a guess on things. But one thing that always stays true is GDP. I mean, it's, what is the wealth of this community in the development world? And we of those 1,290 businesses, you are right. The 5.5 million is the most sales tax we have ever brought to the city as a city, and that was last year. And HDO having predictions of the measure, of course, adding another additional at least 5.5. Then you think of the projects that are onboarding and building construction right now, and you think about when those actually onboard and are occupant, and they start producing, and then you see the sales tax affected to those as well. Then, of course, in the development world, we have to be future-minded and look into what plans could potentially happen. There's a couple of developments with the freeway corridor and, our Yucaipa Valley wine country, where those are things I want to study and continue to look at to find out if, we do move forward on those, what does that look like for the attracting of development? There's a certain way you could be proactive. It's fun for me to spend everybody else's money is what I say, but really I try to connect where it makes sense. And I just knock on a door, and if that's the use that all the numbers and analyses call out for, well, let's go bug them and see if we can find it. And it's amazing what can happen versus just waiting.
Development for some people is a dirty word.
It is.
And here in Yucaipa, we have a strong sense of the rural roots of this community and wanting to hold on to that if we can. By the way, I think we can. I think we can hold on to that and have progress at the same time.
Absolutely.
Right. But why is development so important for the community? Why do cities seem obsessed with economic growth and development? Well, over time, we all know that everything gets more expensive, right? And as our population grows and as prices for everything go through the roof, especially public safety, the last few years have really skyrocketed. For cities to be able to provide services residents need and want, police, fire, paramedic, road maintenance, youth and senior activities, you name it, all of those activities cost money. And so the more healthy a city's revenue streams are, the better able a city is to provide the services residents want and need. That's why it's so important. But,
correct.
In many communities, and certainly in Yucaipa, there is a real need to balance that need and desire for growth with maintaining what makes the community special.
Correct.
And we can do that. And that's the goal. That's a stated goal of the council, to continue pursuing economic development while preserving the unique feel of the community that is Yucaipa. And when we talk about projects like Yucaipa Point, projects like that are going to help us increase that sales tax revenue so that we can provide those services. Yucaipa Point is currently probably the biggest example of our ability to produce sales tax. We have huge opportunities along the freeway, off of Oakland Road and Live Oak Canyon. We're working on an update to our freeway quarter specific plan. That's probably an entire episode just by itself.
Coming soon, right?
Coming soon. But for now, Yucaipa Point's huge for us. As you go up Yucaipa Boulevard from the freeway, on the right-hand side, across the street from the high school, there's construction going on there, and it's another thing that's pretty exciting for a lot of people. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we're literally a month away from. It will be a guaranteed fact that it always will be a bad day to be a chicken in Yucaipa, because that Raising Cane's is a unique development. So you learn a lot as you work in any profession, and why people want to go places, right? So Raising Cane's, why is that across from the high school? Raising Cane's, that's where all the parking's at. How could the school district do that? Raising Cane's, how could the city allow that to happen right there? This is the worst development I've ever seen in my life. Raising Cane's owns the property. Raising Cane's has the old McDonald's model. They want to be by the generations that are going to be growing. There's a reason that I'm sure a lot of people can think right now. Where were the McDonald's located in the 90s? They were all next to the schools. That was part of the plan, because those people are all adults now and they're bringing their kids there. So they don't have to have them next to the school. But that is a specific type of thing that they specifically sought out for, was to be next to where the generations of kids are going to be. They want to grow their industry. They're just like In-N-Out, where they specialize in just a few things, It's amazing to me, like thinking about Chick-fil-A on the freeway and In-N-Out, and looking at their sales tax numbers. And I don't want to share anything I can't, but it's amazing to me, just selling something for a couple more dollars, how much more money you make. So then it's the experience and how quick. That Raising Cane's has, in Southern California, would be one of the biggest queuing drive-throughs. You could fit 36 cars from the window to the entrance of the driveway.
It's incredible. We have a video of this, and I want to take a look, because when you see this, it's really impactful when you look at the size of that lot and the size of the building. The building is a tiny portion of that lot, because you have to account for not just parking, but the traffic going through the drive-through. We call it queuing. Where are the cars going to go that are lined up? And you don't want those cars backed up onto Yucaipa Boulevard. That becomes a safety issue. Traffic is already problematic during school drop-off and pickup times. That's a challenging place traffic-wise. But let's take a look at that. This is impressive.
They are hiring. Please put your applications in. And they're a great company. There's some people that work at Chick-fil-A that work here.
Let's pause there. Okay.
Wow.
Look at this. That is, I don't know, what percentage of that lot would you say the building is taking?
Very little. I mean, that's probably less than 20%. And you're bringing up something really interesting, because if you're in real estate, right? Let's put our real estate caps on. And you own that piece of property and you're going to develop it. Well, you want to have a bigger building than what you're seeing there. And the reason is because you're going to increase the value of your improvement of whatever's on there. And chances are, if down the road you want it to be a different use and you want to sell it, well, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into having a movie theater that's vacant where there's not movie theaters that are going to buy it. Well, what are you going to turn it into, right?
Right.
So if I was a property owner and I saw that building, that's a waste of absolute space there. However, because of that use and the attraction they have, their commitment to long-term investment in communities, and you can see that through other communities when the public information comes with their either triple net leases or ground leases that are always like groundbreaking, because their intent is to hold on to it for a very long time and stay there forever. You're going to see from the top of the egress there on the TV, that's kind of where the drive-through is going to start, and then it wraps around all the way that brick wall near the part of the property, and you can have a total of 36 cars in there. What you're also seeing that looks like a structure outside of the main building there, kind of the steel beams, that's a 1,300 square foot dining patio. That's going to be one of our biggest dining patios that we have, in Yucaipa as well. So this property is very welcoming to the traffic across the street, being the school district, who Raising Cane's and absolute, you talk about phenomenal development teams there, another one to give the flowers to, from entitlement to permitting to working through challenges, everything top notch, quick. And they're working with the school district too to mitigate any issues that may arise from having the students come in and out. And I don't want to speak for the engineering department, but I will try to. We're actually working right now on that signal light that comes out of the high school. And there are, I think it's still all proposed. We're not sure what it's going to do. We're testing to see what equipment we have to buy or if we need any. That would make that one of like a 4-way walkway where all the lights stop red. Everybody walks across the street.
I know that it's such a challenging intersection. That traffic just gets backed up every morning, every afternoon. And I know we've been working with the school district to try to figure out some way to alleviate those issues. But, there are some things we can do to help. But bottom line, when you have a big high school, in the morning and the afternoon, there's going to be traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's got all the stakeholders involved. They're willing to figure out whatever we have to do. So that helps.
Very good. So let's talk about another site where there's activity going on, and we get a lot of questions and comments. Okay, so you're driving down Oak Glen Road. You get to Colorado.
Beautiful.
And there's been some dirt moving, and very recently some sticks are coming out of the ground. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Colorado and Oak Glen Road is a future intersection. Light poles are laying out there on the side of the road, and that project is going just as it should be going. But what you have there is a piece of property that is owned by Alex Patel and the Patels in town. Alex Patel and his family have been in Yucaipa since I believe the late 70s and early 80s. He's also the owner of Freedom Gas at the top of the boulevard, the cheapest gas in town. He's very active, and their whole family is in multiple commercial properties, helping with bring uses. So they're also a good community partner. But they're red, white, and blue. They have the flags, and they're so proud to be Americans. And what I will tell you is freedom isn't free. It's actually, as of today, $3.46 a gallon if you want to go get something.
We really need to do a whole separate episode on Alex and his wife and have them on the podcast. They are really they're the American dream, right? They epitomize the American dream, and they're incredibly patriotic, and they are investing in Yucaipa. They have a lot of ambition related to Yucaipa, all things that'll be fantastic for the city. But let's talk about this project specifically. What are we looking at there?
Yeah, absolutely. So
let's pull up. We have some video actually. Let's pull it up.
Be happy to. Awesome. So if you mind pausing it there. Awesome. So what you're looking at is Colorado Avenue coming down to where it connects to Oak Glen Road. And that, as I mentioned, you can see right there on the pictures, see the along the Robinson Ranch fence, the poles that are on the ground. That's
Yes.
actually the future stoplights. So you can see, at least we have it. So the sticks that you see, this kind of goes back to what are we building? So you have a 16 fuel station with a corporate office on the second story. And then inside that fuel station, you will also have a quick service restaurant. So any quick service vendors out there, hit up hotels, they're looking to fill that spot with somebody. Love to get a commitment. And then also too, what you see with the sticks are at, that's the car wash. Now,
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
We do not have enough car washes in the city of Yucaipa.
We definitely don't. Car washes are tough. They vary. I mean, we could probably give a couple minutes to the car washes now, or do you want me to finish?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I think we can talk about that. Let's
Okay.
finish talking about this development.
Oh yeah, so absolutely. You'll see the service station, and the second story, as I mentioned, will be his corporate offices. There will be a quick service restaurant, some type of fast food that wraps around the back of the convenience store there. Then you see the car wash to the north part of the property, and then as you're moving, I guess it would be south or east on the picture here. To the left, kind of where that storage container's at, that's the future of Alex Patel's hotel. So he's gotten, at least through the processes, to have the opportunity to build the hotel there. It's phase 2 of the project. I anticipate in 2025 we are going to start getting introduced to who he is trying to find as a possible tenant, meaning which actual hotel corporation, what that would be. Alex has been extremely I would say in the same aspect as Robinson was, where, hey, we don't want a Motel 6. What do you guys want? And we kind of work it, from there to find a way to get what the city wants there in a nicer use. We don't want to have a Grand Marriott there where it's $300 a night and the rooms can't be packed. But there's a sweet fine line that's there when it comes to the dollar per night and the type of tenant that is. He also has ambitions to have. And I know you're very excited about this, sir. Potentially a rooftop bar restaurant as well, too. It's one of his dreams. And then piggybacking off of what we discussed earlier about the ladder truck, this is another project that potentially could benefit and build bigger quality, better product for Yucaipa because of having that flexibility, too. So it's quite a bit there.
No, I'm a big proponent of creating unique spaces where people can gather, families can gather. We don't have enough of that here in Yucaipa, I'm very excited that he has a concept for a rooftop bar restaurant that can take advantage of the views from up there, which will be pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
It's I hear a lot when something starts to be built, people get excited and they wonder what's that going to be, and so often. When it's another gas station, when it's another car wash, when it's another tire shop or Mexican restaurant, anything that we already have a lot of here in Yucaipa, people are disappointed.
Yeah.
And understandably so. Mm-hmm. I'm one of them. In fact,
likewise.
Not long after I started, I brought to the city council a proposal to establish a moratorium on car washes and gas stations, right?
And it got shot down.
It got shot down. The council didn't think that was a good idea. But the bottom line is, Yucaipa believes in private property rights, and we don't own those properties. So if a piece of land is zoned in a way that those are allowable uses, they have a right to bring those uses.
That's right.
And typically landowners that are building commercial projects look for uses that are going to maximize their profit on that property, and uses like car washes are very profitable, right?
Car washes can profit you anywhere from $700,000 to $1.2 million a year, depending on what it is, where it's at with cars.
Now, Ryan, you shouldn't have told people that, because now we're going to get more applications for car washes.
That's right.
Yeah. No, look, and we don't begrudge anyone for trying to make a profit on their property. That's they've got a right to do that, and it's up to the city to kind of set parameters. And the council's been clear that they don't want to place those kind of restrictions, and that's fine. But I appreciate applicants who come to the city and say, what types of uses are you looking for? Right.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean we're gonna get away with applicants not proposing car washes and gas stations. But let's take this project on Oak Glen Road in Colorado as an example. In addition to those things that the property owner feels are needed to start producing revenue, mm-hmm. he's also trying to create something unique. In addition,
yes.
Right? With the hotel and the restaurant and bar on the top. So
Have you heard about his car wash yet?
I've heard about the car wash.
Yeah, it's on a conveyor belt. So you like park your car on a conveyor belt, the whole thing, you put it park. And then it has sensors that determines how fast or slow to get through the process. But it's a nightclub as it goes through. It's going to be really exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, so he wants it to be where...
Are you DJing there?
Potentially.
Yeah.
No, he wants it to be where the kids in town go, Mom and Dad, let's go to that car wash.
Yeah, no, that's neat. That's neat. But I was referring more to the restaurant bar at the top of the hotel, right? I mean, creating places where Yucaipa residents can gather, can go, can take their families, and yes, he feels the need to build a car wash there and a gas station, and to make that property profitable. But also the nice hotel with the restaurant bar on top. That's an example of a compromise, right?
100%.
So,
he also has an ambition, sir, to build like a food lab.
Oh, yes.
He has like, I don't know if it's wherever he can find some property, whoever is out there, Alex wants to build a basically like a food lab where you have multiple hard set units of uses, whether it's little shopping, restaurants, things like that, a little market, but, hard kiosks.
Right, with kind of a place in the middle to gather and eat your food and lawn games, and the family can come and have an enjoyable evening or afternoon. Yeah, no,
you're a stone's throw away from the pumpkin patch. I mean, you're right there. There's a lot of activity.
Right. No, absolutely. So, when it comes to new businesses that are being built here, we've heard feedback that the city needs more of this type of use, or we don't need more of that type of use. And we have some examples of comments on social media. Let's take a look.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, this is Jody and Tom. They have been talking about a theater in town for 30 freaking years. But hey, we have more car washes than grocery stores, so that's a plus, right? Yeah, no, again, a frustration that a lot of us feel. We would have loved to have had that movie theater. It was an approved project. But
any movie theater developers out there, I don't think we're opposed to it still. Like,
no, I know.
Hit me up. I got land.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. What else do we have here? Julie Martin. People can only dream of having nice restaurants in Yucaipa. They will never allow them fast food, gas stations, and car wash. But again, this is interesting sentiment. They will never allow them, right? As if it's the city saying, we do not want nice restaurants here in Yucaipa, right? No, that's silly. Of course we do. And I know that you actively try to bring in restaurants in town. We've had some success in Uptown. We'll talk about Uptown in a minute. We've had some real success Uptown. But
you're bringing up something, if you don't mind me cutting you off.
Please,
they're exactly right. Yes, they will never allow it. That's not a thing. But how do we be proactive as a community, knowing that it's up to the property owners that own the property to bring those uses? Well, that's where economic development comes in. We can sit and wait for the applications to come over the counter, but within the letter of the law, legally, morally, ethically, we have to be able to attract what uses we want in town. So that's exactly where I come in. Is I see this as motivation. It's like, okay, go find the right use, Ryan.
Right. Okay. All right. I think we have one more here. This is Valerie. I don't know why the city keeps approving these stupid car washes. Okay. Well, I know, Valerie. I know. And we just addressed that.
It's a very lucrative business, and
it is.
The only thing that changes that is policy.
Yep. Well, private property rights is a cornerstone of our society here in the United States, and we honor it here in Yucaipa. But that doesn't mean that we are excluding other uses, and we are actively trying to find a variety of uses that we know residents want. And again, I think there's some very exciting things on the horizon that people are going to be.
Stay tuned. It's coming. We've been putting in a lot of work this last couple of years, and 2025 is going to be a great year for the city.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So tell us a little bit, Ryan, about how you work, your role of bringing new business in town. How do you go about that work?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about networking. It's not only with developers that are out there and potential people that have built things in other cities that, hey, that looks cool. How does that happen? Look up how it was built, agreement, who's the contractor. It's not just relying on people who get introduced to. I got to be proactive and go find out in our surrounding communities, and even further, what kind of projects are we looking for? And then you think regionally in the government, I have to communicate always with the county, workforce development, their economic development. I'm working with other economic development agencies, and that helps us all because economic development is still something that is a little bit newer to governments. Usually everything was handled out of the city manager's office, if you will. But that was before, this super, the urban to suburban crawl that's happening since the 70s out of LA. Well, all the uses are coming with it too, right? So now you're seeing, we have to plan what businesses we want in what way that we can, because we're not, as you said, the property owners, but we can do a little bit of selling the city to people to see if it's desirable for them enough to put a deal together to see if it makes sense.
Now, when you talk about networking, do you really mean golf?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I figured. Yes. Yeah, anyone who follows Ryan on social media knows that he does a lot of golfing, but for the record, we do not pay Ryan to golf.
That's correct.
Right,
yes.
Those are off the clock hours, but
I can show you on my bank statements.
It's funny. Off
one of the
topic a little bit. There's one of the nasty rumors out there is that the city pays for my golf memberships, which is
when I saw that. What did I text you? When the heck did we start getting this, and how did I not get involved?
It is unbelievable some of the stuff that gets circulated out there. It's just silly. But
on that note, if you don't mind,
please.
I've golfed my entire life, and when they say that thing of deals are made on the golf course, well, it's a little bit more than that. Golf is a special sport, and if you understand the value that it brings, it's the game of life. You can hit a good shot, get a bad break. You hit a bad shot, get a good break. But what it really does is I take grown men out to deep water and find out if they're cheating. I find out how they handle frustration. I see how they handle themselves in a corporate room, if it's the same way on the golf course, if it's like it doesn't look like them. So you can learn a lot about a man, and it kind of humbles them because they don't expect me at 5'7", absolutely handsome, to can just put the throttle on the gas and not let up, and they don't see it. So it helps a little bit because they want to act big and bad, and they've built these great things and stuff. Well, here's this little city guy that's going to kind of humble you as a man, and now we can get to work.
Interesting. So one of the many ways that you work to solicit the right kind of businesses to come to Yucaipa is attending conferences and events where those businesses and developers and brokers go. And one of those events every year is ICSC, the International Council of Shopping Centers. That's a conference that takes place in Las Vegas every year. This last conference, you went, I joined you, then Matt Locke and planning joined us, and man, it was eye-opening. Basically the entire Las Vegas Convention Center, and just stacked full of developers. Their whole sections devoted to just fast food restaurants, right? If you're looking for a fast food user, here's a section where they all are, right?
And then they some of those uses like build out a half a restaurant in the convention center.
Oh, it's incredible the money that's spent to put on those.
Those
displays. It's incredible. But as we were walking around, it struck me how, for the vast majority of those development companies, you could pick up their project, place it down in any community in the country, and it would look the same as anywhere else. You would have no idea what community you were in. It's just cookie cutter, the same stuff, right? So when we were walking through, I remember our conversation was, okay, let's look for something unique, right? Yeah. Let's look for not just the same cookie cutter buildings, but let's look for uses that create a sense of space, a gathering place, and that's a growing trend, as brick and mortar, sales trends shift in this country to online sales. More and more, when you're looking at physical locations, people are looking for experiences.
Yes.
Right. And we have an opportunity here in Yucaipa because we still have land to be built on where we could create
thirst for entertainment.
Right. We could create some really special places here in the city of Yucaipa that provide our residents and families amenities, places where they can come and build a sense of community, but also that provide the revenue the city needs, right? And and we did find some of those, right?
We did,
and we got a couple of really interesting meetings that came out of being there, and hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll be able to announce some exciting things as a result of those conversations. But I think a lot of people just don't realize all that goes into economic development efforts and
Yeah.
trying to bring the right uses to a community.
Yeah, if I might go on a little rant, it's one thing to my position, my job, my scope. It's one thing to be proactive, have a development-friendly environment where I can go out and get these uses. But let's say that I get the uses here. Well, what am I going to do to get the jobs? And then after that, how are we going to retain them? What does their tough months look like? What does that mean to the stores that are next to them? I mean, in those 1,291 sales tax producing businesses, a good majority of those are small businesses. They're mom and pops. And we have to have bigger uses surrounding those to bring in other traffic from town to help support their businesses. So you're right. Economic development's a quality of life, and it's everything has a reason. It's T-ball. It's you put the ball on the tee, the next guy hits it, the next guy throws it, the next guy puts it back on the tee. It's just a big wheel, and every sale that's made, every person that pulls off the freeway, every development that happens, it has a measurable impact in our town. And no matter the city in America, you pick it, you choose it, the more people that go to it, the more options you give them, the more wealthy your city becomes. Now you're talking about more quality jobs. Now you're talking about median house prices that are above the counties. So it's places you want to move up to. This is a move up town. This is not a move downtown. This is a move up. Just look online and see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tells you everything, the rural nature of it. So our small business community is where that comes from. A lot of people say if small business community goes away, then the whole town loses. Well, what that really means is that we lose our culture. We lose what we are.
Right.
We lose the arts. We lose the small shops. We lose those relationships. I've been here for 30 years. My kids went to these schools. My son graduated from here. He's moving his family back into town. Like, that's the American dream now.
No, you're so right. And, I think very often cities get focused only on the sales tax dollar because when it comes to the sales tax dollar, small business is not where it's at.
Yeah.
Right. It's about the big businesses, the big box stores, the Costco's and the Targets and the
They
big,
solve your big
regional
problems.
shopping centers and the auto malls. Those bring in the big revenue dollars.
Yeah.
But the small mom and pop businesses are so critical for that sense of community.
Oh, unbelievable.
Right. And they do produce revenue. It's not that they
Yeah.
don't, but you go into Uptown, the businesses that are there, they are the community.
Yeah.
Right. And we have to make sure we don't lose that.
Oh, 100%. A couple of businesses that come to mind when it comes to like our culture and our community. I mean, we have just a few wineries. We have just a few breweries. We have a couple of restaurants that are new, and those people that literally opened those restaurants were people that worked in restaurants in town, and they had a dream to open a restaurant in town. Like, what about that? Like, those are the stories that nobody ever hears about, and I'm fortunate enough to be a part of those stories. When I write this book, when I'm done with this government life, whenever that is, it is going to be full of value. And it's one of the reasons I'm able to respect my elders, even though sometimes they're not respectable people. I understand what it means to be long-term, to be patient, and to be kind. And in my position, it is paramount. I meet my colleagues from other cities out there and things like that. And just the conversations we have kind of tell me how they like to help. I love helping people. I can help you. If you're a business, if you have a problem, let me get you onto the resources that connect you so that you can find that help you're looking for. Maybe it's real help. Maybe it's something that reaffirms the way you feel about something. But if you don't know, you don't know. And being a previous business owner myself for many years, I didn't have the mindset to go find the resources. I didn't know you could connect with the city. I had no clue that you can go onto our economic development page on yucaipa.gov and click on the small businesses, and you have the state, county, federal, local support. You have our grant programs that are available. You have regional programs that are out there. You have people you can call to. We have our Yucaipa Chamber of Commerce in town, who is alongside of me, one of our bigger small business supports in town, that really try to connect everybody. And those are the things that make the community, the culture of Yucaipa. It's the collaborativeness. There's so much history here. Like, we talk about the new developments and things. This is all so very exciting. But it also makes me think of the people that have been here since the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and those relationships I've been able to cultivate and really realize what it means to be a Yucaipian and how precious this soil is and how we need to respect it and take care of it, not just for these people that have been here forever, but for the next generations. And if the generations that are been here forever are happy to pass this town on to the next generation, I think that's success. And I would be more than happy to take this from that generation, because Look how beautiful this place is, man.
Yeah.
Everywhere, every window you look out of is a picture. Everywhere is a kind face. I work for the city, and I wear this badge out in the community, and I do it proudly. And it's probably not the right time to do it. Some people might put something else on or whatever, and I don't care. This is a great place. You're not going to ever change me.
No, absolutely. So you said something a minute ago about hearing people's stories about the American dream, right?
Yeah.
About the person who was working in a restaurant their whole life, and they had a dream to start their own, and they started a restaurant here in Yucaipa, and now they're the business owner and making their dream come true. But you do more than hear those stories. You help those dreams become reality, right? And we have a lot of programs, a lot of ways we do that here in Yucaipa, and I want to touch on some of those because I want people to know about them. I mean, we have new digital billboards on the freeway.
Yes.
We have a billboard promotion program that can help our small businesses. We have a commercial facade grant program,
Tremendous,
which can help people make their businesses look more attractive and invite business. Actually, we have some photos about that. Let's take a look at. These are businesses in our uptown that have taken advantage of that program.
Yucaipa, what a staple. I mean, that's if you were going to make stamps about Yucaipa, that's going to be on a stamp.
Yep.
And they paid. So that was part of the facade program. So for the last few councils, they've had a specific grant program where if you are a commercial business in the uptown district from 2nd all the way to Bryant, there's a $10,000 grant, meaning it is $10,000 that is not paid back. All you have to do is use that on certain uses and types of materials and things to enhance the street value of your business. And by doing that, you improve the property value and all that and such. So it's a great investment from council. And I am extremely grateful for our council and Council of Pass for having this type of program, because that is a direct benefit. And I've been able to work with a total so far of 6 businesses. Some of them are still in the approval process to take their business in uptown and make it look like something else. Now, they're not just taking that up to $10,000 grant and just doing that. No, it's a dollar for dollar match. We cap you at $10,000, meaning they're doing like $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 renovations. We're just helping them out with a small part.
Well, and not just the facade program, but you know, also we have a restaurant loan program, right?
Yeah, restaurant loan program is awesome. So if you're a restaurant out there, or you're trying to building a brand new restaurant, because I'm sure, as you know, how it works with the county, if you have a restaurant use now and it shuts down for 6 months, well, now you got to go to the updated code on the kitchen, and more times than not, that's going to cost you somewhere around 6 figures. So we actually have a loan that we provide, and the loan is based at 4 or 5 years. It's only a 4% loan. It's a super low interest loan, and it's for the purchase of the stainless steel equipment. So the ovens, the grease traps, those types of things, prep stations, basically anything stainless steel is what I say. So it's kitchen equipment. Now, it's just for the purchase of it. If we were to put in that agreement that it was in the installation too, well, you'd have to pay prevailing wage on it. So we're very clever on being able to not only help these businesses, but not put a bunch of red tape and government schlop in front of them that they have to work through. So it's actually real funding for them. And I can myself, since I've been here, have had 3 restaurant loans, working on another one for kitchens. That's 4 brand new kitchens in Yucaipa, like brand new kitchen. We don't have any kitchens right now for sale or for rent. We have 0 vacancy.
Wow.
0. We have 0 available for restaurants in town if you want to buy one, right? So you have to build one. That's a good thing, and that's a bad thing. And how we're able to help supplement that is, if you're going to take on the cost to build a new restaurant, we'll at least give you a small interest loan to help that burden.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other businesses that have benefited.
Kludes. Love Kludes. Working on another patio expansion for them now. I'm sure Kasha, the owner, doesn't mind me saying that.
Great.
Which is fantastic, because he's spread his companies all around the IE, and he's got a special heart here in Yucaipa, so we're grateful to have him here. It's a great place.
Great.
Yeah, Roundabout Treats and Sweets, owned by Miss Stephanie, who also owns Mastro's Sub Shop right around the corner. She's on the Chamber of Commerce. She is a ball of energy. If you think I'm a positive person and like to help people, she is amazing. So supporting her businesses is your dollars are well at work there. And then also too, she hires locally and a lot of the kids and things like that. So the Roundabout Suite's great business. And then of course they took part in the commercial facade program, and nice awning with the signs and finishing the ribbon up top and the marquee. That was part of it too.
Great.
All right. So this is awesome. That's Rebels. Rebels Burger and Brew. You alluded to them earlier. I don't mind putting them on blast. I'm going to do it. Rudy and Ryan. And Rudy and Ryan are awesome. And I remember it had to be almost 3 years ago now, that they came into City Hall. They came over the counter, and I was still green, wet behind the ears slightly. And they said, Ryan, nice to meet you. We want to open a restaurant in town. We're the managers at Hickory Ranch. We can't tell anybody. We've saved our money and we're ready.
Wow.
Okay, well, have you looked at buildings? No. Do you know what you want to build? No. So it's literally like, I'm ready. We figured it out. We have the dream. Who can help us find something? I was fortunate enough to have connections in town with property owners who want good uses. So part of my responsibility is, I think of that one property owner that mentioned he's interested in leasing things. He has a sign on his window. Why don't you call this guy? They work out, that project. So that project was awesome. So when I met them 3 years ago, this relationship started. They decided to build this restaurant. We've ran into nothing but issues with this place. Yeah. Let me tell you why. Right now, Mr. Randall Swedlove, the owner, is grinning ear to ear listening to this podcast as I'm about to say this, because that building was extremely old. It used to be a paint shop, potentially a bus stop way back in the day in the 40s or 50s as well. And why that's important, it's coming up. So when they had to do that building, basically the whole thing inside had to be gutted. Steel beams. I mean, it was like putting a brand new building in there, which was great. We were still able to keep the walls, the main wall, and then, of course, the front facade slightly. So that way, it expedites things, makes it a little more cost effective for them. Another thing we try to help do is make the cost low. But when they went to dig a grease trap, so in the back of that building, there's one piece of dirt. That's probably a 5-foot circle. You had to put a grease trap in for the restaurant. It was never a restaurant before. Excavator goes to dig out the hole, runs into a tank. Boom, 800 gallons, and they call the county. And you talk about delay, money, process. Yeah. Now they have to come out and test it. They have to see what the liquid is, and then maybe they'll let you take it out. And if you do, you have to take it out with them, and then you have to drive it to a certain place. And it's just this big old red tape thing. And, it's for the safety of whatever the heck's in there, because 40s and 50s, there was no record in the county. There was no record of anything of these tanks. Wow. They finally go through the process. It took 4 months to get the permit to pull that tank. They go to pull the tank. They pull it out. That was 800 gallons. Well, right next to that was an 1,100 tank. So that delayed us another month.
Wow.
And because of the commitment from Ryan and Rudy, the restaurant owners and the tenants, and Mr. Swedlove being the owner of the property and staying committed, and them working out a communication, because there's obviously, when those things happen, money's issues, right? Mm-hmm. And now they just celebrated their 1-year anniversary about a month and a half ago, I believe, and I cannot be more happy for them. They are heart and soul is in place, and I'm appreciative.
And it's a great restaurant, a tremendous addition to the Uptown.
Oh, yeah.
It's packed in there.
Oh, yeah.
Great food. So we love to see those types of businesses coming into our town.
And I have these are just a few stories today that I'm mentioning, but there's dozens. There's dozens.
Yeah. Well, one thing that not everyone stops to think about is that, when you buy something in the city of Yucaipa from a business here in town, the sales tax from that sale, a portion of that goes to the city of Yucaipa that we can use to provide services here in town.
That's right.
And so shopping local is important.
Extremely.
Whenever possible. With the holidays coming up, tell us about some of the best shop local opportunities for Yucaipa residents.
Yeah, absolutely. Shop local is big for small business community, not just for ours, but for all around. But let's go exclusively into our community. So American Express launched this shop local initiative, I don't know, probably 20, 25 years ago or so. And it was to help promote small businesses and communities to shop local. They started with funding to kind of get this thing to go national, and then eventually it actually did. So we build off the model of that, and with the help of the Yucaipa Chamber of Commerce, who was just out at the Winterfest, and they had a booth set up, and they were kind of getting people information and out to folks and stuff. And gotcha. So they were at Winterfest, and they were giving information out about Shop Local. So the members of the Chamber of Commerce are working proactively to kind of motivate each other to have you come to my store, I go to your store, that kind of thing. So what those specifically detail, that's all between the business owners. But here's what I can tell you about Shop Local. There are every single year, this is one of the economic reports that everybody waits for, and there's many agencies that do it. Some of them are really bigger. You mentioned ICSC earlier, in addition to that conference that they put on. Well, they're also they have some of the best writers on staff. And when they post an article or a study or something like that, that's the article that everybody else shares, right? So if you go to them, they do a study every single year that has to do with the holiday shopping year. And through the study they did, I mean, it's a national study. It's, sample sizes from all over the place, different types of areas. And the national consensus was that retail and commercial is going to see an increase this year over this holiday season of 3 to 4%. That is tremendous. Well, what goes along with people buying those types of things is they want to go out and eat. So they have the service industry, foods, restaurants, and such, that's shooting up for a 9% look. Now, we just had a national election, and I think that there is a lot of America in America right now, and that is conducive to happiness spending the season. And we've already seen that start happening with statistics that are coming through major retailers. So if I'm sitting in Yucaipa right now, and I'm a small business, and I'm not, but I'm saying if I was, because I would be fired if I was. If I was sitting there and I was a Yucaipa business owner, what do I do? Like, what does that mean to me? How do I capture on that excitement? Well, I look into those statistics and you go further, and it's people are stepping away from the online experience for the holidays. They want to go out. They want it to be festive. They want to feel good. They want to spend that money. Do you remember in the 90s shopping malls during Christmas?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like the kids of all that now are like, we want a little more of that because that's gone. So let's go to these cool shopping districts in like Yucaipa uptown. We can park the car and walk, right? So my encouragement for business owners is that the statistics show that offering them something to come in, whether it's an experience or it's a value, will have a higher percentage chance of that person doing business with you. So whether it's a BOGO sale or sign on for the membership, get 20% off this or something, you have to be creative to attract people. But even more than just putting the sign on the door, you need to learn and use social media. If you don't know how to or want to, yucaipa.gov/economic development, small business support. There's a mini free support that's on there, including webinars, and then also people you can call at the Small Business Development Center. That is a nonprofit that the city obviously council actually partners with so that we can provide those services for free that will teach you how to do those social media or whatever it is. But you need to get on all those mediums. And you need to post it, you need to go do it right now. And you need to repost it, and you need to resend it. If your family and your friends are saying, stop posting this crap, you're doing the right thing because it's going to change your bottom line. The shoppers are out there. People are coming to the community. It is your job to cast that net and bring them into your store and help your fellow neighbor.
Right. Again, people are looking for experiences.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's online is convenient.
Yeah.
But, especially at a time like Christmas, right? You mentioned the malls, right? I remember there's just something festive that gets you in the spirit, when you're there. And yes, it's hectic and it's busy and, it's hard to find parking, but the place is decked out. The music is playing. It gets you in that spirit.
There's people listening to this right now in their house, and you have those little clay houses all popped in with the snow everywhere, and you're looking at it. I know you are.
Yeah.
It's funny. It feels good.
Online shopping will never completely replace the in-person experience.
Correct.
And so I love that here in Yucaipa we have the Uptown, which is, you can go there and it's, it's festive, and, we have our tree lit, we've outside the Performing Arts Center, and you can go up there and socialize and enjoy the season, right? You don't get that online.
No, not at all.
If you're a business owner and you need help with something, if you are thinking about starting a business, but you're just not quite sure how to get started or where to find help, where do you go?
Yeah, perfect. 2 places. You're going to come to City Hall and talk to the Economic Development Department, or you're going to hop on our website and then look through everything and then make contact with me. I'm not going to solve every problem for you, because if I could, I wouldn't be here. I'd be rich and doing it myself. But what I can do is put you on to people that have had the experiences, free resources that are there, whether it's figuring out your back end, to learning to train your employees, to writing a business plan, to how do I market in the 21st century? How do I leverage AI? We have a ton of Spanish-speaking businesses. It's a big part of our population. Like, how do those Spanish-speaking speaking businesses promote to their demographics and stuff. We have Spanish resources for that. So there's ton that's out there that you don't even have to pay for. So I doing my best to always bring that attention to the people that need help, and the places I collect them are on our website. And then as new things come on, I try to update it there too. So that business resource page is, if I were starting a business in Yucaipa, I would call every single.
If you're a resident of Yucaipa and you're thinking about development in the city of Yucaipa and economic development, and you are concerned about wanting to make sure that the community develops in a way that you feel is right for Yucaipa.
Yeah.
How do you get involved?
That's a great question. So one of the easiest ways is right now, depending on when this episode drops, maybe the window for applications is closed. But there is a committee here at our city that is starting back up next year, and it's called the Economic Advisory Development Committee. And it is Economic Development Advisory Committee, and it is a very cool committee. So we don't have, I'm the liaison for that. We don't have any power to make policy or changes, but what we do is we can report to council on initiatives that the group wants to work on in the town that have to do with economics. In addition to that, maybe council gives us a mission and they say, go look at this industry and as a collective, come back with a report and tell us what you think of it. So it's another way to kind of get involved in the community without being elected. And a lot gets done there. A lot of cities and sometimes the county, there's like what's called SEDS reports, and that's kind of different studies and SWOT analysis. I mean, there's all sorts of analyses you can run that kind of give you the measurement of whatever it is you're looking for. You can use those measurements to have conversations with different people in town. This EDAC committee is nice because there is a representative from basically every occupation on there, whether it's the college, school district. We also have business owners, there's bankers, a real estate person, then there's 2 at-large members, architects, professionals. So it's a little bit of everything that everybody has an expertise on. So when this committee brings things to talk about communitively, it's a great pulse to get, not only for me, when I'm using the policies that come down to attract the uses that we're trying to attract, but also too for council. This committee will report up to council and they'll say, hey, this is what we discovered together. So it's a cool collaborative way. I look forward to liaisoning it, and the applications that we have got in so far, there's some really cool names on there. So I'm looking forward to a really good committee next year. That's a great way to do it too.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Ryan. Even though you are a department of one, there is a tremendous amount of work going into economic development efforts in the city, which is important because economic development clearly plays a critical role in shaping the future of our community.
Absolutely.
Ryan Miller, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Episode number 8 will drop in 2 weeks on Tuesday, December 17th. Until then, we hope you enjoy the holiday season with your loved ones. And please remember to support our local businesses by doing some of your local holiday shopping right here in town. Thank you for watching and listening to Yucaipa 360. And as we sign off today, we'll leave you with the full version of the new economic development hit single, Yucaipa Dream.
Dusty roads and open fields, big dreams got the city built. Bringing shops folks all adore, chicken fries and some more. Spots for days we love to see, Raising Cane's and sweet iced tea. Chick-fil-A on every block, keeping roots in all we got. Yucaipa gonna rise, stars and stripes in our skies. New places to eat and shop, rural heart will never stop. Mom and Pop still holding tight, city lights shining bright. Open spaces, room to roam, calling this sweet place our home. Pride in every street, flags to wave and fields that grow. Modern flavor, city scenes, all wrapped in American dreams. Yucaipa gonna rise, stars and stripes in our skies. New places to eat and shop, rural unpacks the wave and fields that grow. Modern flavor, city scenes, all right.